All righty. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a pleasant day thus far. I'm starting to gonna start doing a few shows when we don't have interviews. I'm gonna start picking out Special Forces veterans that are no longer with us, that I've got information about that I can share about, or that have been mentioned in either Placer's books or several other Special Forces books. And I figured this guy's been spoken about enough that I can probably do a 30-minute show or such on him today. And I've been putting out feelers, excuse me, to some of the guys in the groups and that we've spoken to previously to see if we can start getting some firsthand account stories from them that maybe I can do maybe have a vet on that served with them. We've got several: John Good, all of the Halo guys that have jumped, Howard Sugar, all of them served with Captain Storter. So and I think he spent time at CCN. We'll see. I think even Dick Thompson served a little bit of time with Captain Storter. And as a matter of fact, I think he mentions Captain Storter in his second book. So I need to look at that and see also. I may grab that in just a second. I think he was AST. Yeah, Mike Bentley would be really good. Hang on, let me grab Dick Thompson's book because I'm pretty sure he was AST. It'll be a needle in a haystack, but I'm going to see if I can. I think it was in book 2. But yes, absolutely. And man, I'm so worried about flying. I really need to go out to SOAR this year. Because there's going to be a lot of people there. Let's see here. That's when Dix and AST. Hang on one second, guys. Hello? Yeah. I'm online. I'm online right at the moment. Why? Love you, bye. That was my mother. Sorry about that. I knew I should have looked at Dick's book before I went live on this. But yes, he did work with Captain Storter, and for the life of me, of course, since I'm looking at it, I won't be able to find it, but I will find it after the fact. But nonetheless, let's get started here. Oh yeah, we're gonna do Bob Howard because I've recently gotten from talking to Jim Young, Captain Young, who is in. I've got the book in there, or else I'd hold it up. Dale Hanson's new book. I'm glad to see Captain Young, well, then Lieutenant Young, getting a lot of stories about him. So yeah, we'll do Bob Howard. Definitely do some Billy Waugh stuff because I've gotten a lot of new photos of Billy Waugh in between his SOG tours when he was with the Mike Forces, or when he was with the A Camp and Bong San, or doing the Bong San operation. So yeah, those two are actually on my list. I haven't made a show note or whatever, or an event for them, but absolutely we're definitely going to be doing Bob and Billy because we've got tons of Bob Howard stories, and I'm digging up more Billy, but I've got a ton of Bob Howard stories from all the interviews we've done. Let me see here. I guess to just kind of get it started, this is going to be ad hoc. It's not going to be like a professional rundown of his career because I'm still in the process of getting all of his duty stations and and what all he was doing, but I do have enough to where we can cover at least the basis to where people can get interested in him and start doing some research on their own. And like I said, I'm going to be starting to reach out to some of the guys to maybe get some firsthand accounts from them and maybe do a full-on Jim Storter show to where I chop up interviews, or we just do one at a time interviews with guys we've had on. So, but I thought, and by the way, he is mentioned in both of Plaster's books. So if you want to check out a little bit about him, go check that. Go read those books or look in the back. Look for Storter. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I just got done walking the dogs and it had to run because it is nasty weather here. But we've always seen, or speaking to guys, we've always heard funny jewelry stories and like customized lighters that guys would make, and like special stuff like lighters or pendants that they would actually wear across lines that were across the fence. I thought were pretty funny. He was one of the guys that would have and I always laugh that he had a lighter that said if you, and pardon my language, hopefully SOG or Facebook won't shoot me down for this, but it said, if you were searching my body and you find this, fuck you, and it was on his lighter. That's absolutely awesome. I always loved that about him. And yes, I've actually got a little bit of some of his Ranger, a little Ranger thing that I'm going to bring up at the end. And yes, he's not only in the Ranger Hall of Fame, but he is also in he is a distinguished member of the regiment, which is the almost like the Special Forces Hall of Fame. And he was recently put in. I'll bring that up here. As a matter of fact, along with his Ranger Hall of Fame citation. But to really nail down the kind of guy that he is, this is in the first Plaster book. Plaster is kind of talking about and really laying it out there at the beginning how deadly SOG was, and guys weren't cut out for it. And he's talking to Sammy Hernandez, CCN vet, and A-Team vet, and 46 Company vet. And he's also talking to CCN and CCS vet Ben Lyons, also later 7th Group guy. Sammy said this. It leads in, SOG's behind the lines domain was not every man's cup of tea. Sergeant First Class Sammy Hernandez had a Recon man weep on his shoulder after a narrow escape, begging not to go back into Laos. The man quit right then and there. And now Sammy, when I saw this man, the Recon man that cried on his shoulder, when I saw him at Fort Bragg years later at the bar, he always put his head down in shame when he saw me come into the bar, says Hernandez. One night, I finally told him, in quotations, hey, buddy, you don't have to do that anymore. You have nothing to be ashamed of. Some people can do it. Some people can't. And I'm never going to be the guy to say, hey, you don't have the guts to go out there on these patrols. You'll never hear that from me. Some men can do it and some men couldn't. And that's Sammy for you right there. But it says Captain Jim Storter explains further. There are some people that once they hear the helicopters go off in the distance, their ass gets so tight they can't breathe. When it gets quiet, you're all on your own. A lot of people can't take it. They can't handle it, and they break mentally. Adds the Khartoum FOB commander, Lieutenant Colonel Galen Radke. You can't train a man for what he's going to be born in. He's got to be born into that. You're born with it. like Ben Lyons later explained, I just got the charge of a lifetime out of being in the other guy's backyard, knowing they're hunting me and wanting to kill me. So that kind of gives you a little look into not only recon men's frame of minds, but different aspects of a recon man and different frames of minds from different recon men. You could see Sammy. Sammy is the most humble man I've ever met in my, well, I can't say that. He is easily one of the most humble men I've ever met in my life. He doesn't want to get on interviews on when you talk to him on the phone. He'll talk a little bit, but he's always wanting to bring up other people. And you can see him telling that guy, you know, I always found that amazing that the dude actually broke down, and Sammy, as good as a man Sammy is, you know, going saying you can't do that, you know, you just can't do that. And yeah, I've heard the same piece. Numerous other people say the same thing about Captain, like Captain Storter said. You know, once those helicopters go off, you're all alone. It's a whole different ball game. Completely different ball game. And see, what I've been trying to get straight is I know Captain Storter did. Let me see here. Well, he passed away. He was a major. He did a 10th group tour at Bad Toelz, and of course he did 2 tours with SOG, CCN, and then CCC. He served many years in the Ranger Department, including a stint as camp commander at the Florida camp. He is remembered. He is a member of the Ranger Hall of Fame, and it's crazy. He died in 24, and it was right down the road, and I did not see that taps at the time. So that's what I've got so far, and I know SOG wise where SOG or Vietnam wise where he was at. With the help of Jason Hardy's amazing work, we've been able to get just a rundown of his career. At this point in time, we'll be talking a little bit about when he did the Halo jump. Captain Jim Storter was the acting command and control recon company commander when he created Recon Team Storter in July of 1971. The team will perform the 4th Military Assistance Command Vietnam Studies and Observation Group, MACV-SOG, High Altitude, Low Opening, Halo, Airborne Insert. James Storter took the 1-0 position with Newman Ruff, however you like to pronounce it, his 1-1. John Good, who we just had on, the 1-2. Sadly, as we learned, Mr. John broke his leg on one of the jumps. Millard Moye and Michael Bentley came in, and he was actually the backup jumper who came over from Montana to replace John. And they did all the training. He, of course, said he held the team leader. And then, of course, when they completed the jump successfully, he went back to being the Recon Company commander, which is basically the bigwig of the Recon teams, doing what, knowing what his guys are facing, making sure they've got gear, making sure everybody's paid and taken care of, knowing where his guys are at, who's on R&R. You know, he's basically the, shall we say, the general manager of a baseball team when he's in the Recon Company commander post. Now, if you got people like Bob Howard as Recon Company first sergeant, that would be like the actual baseball coach, because Bob's actually training guys. He's out in the bush still. So that's a little different differentiation as the NCOIC of Recon versus the Recon Company commander, and their roles. And it goes on to say with Jason, this was Jim Storter's 3rd tour in Vietnam. He served his first tour from 65 to 66 as an enlisted man with MACV, Military Assistance Command Vietnam, as a senior enlisted advisor to the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, 3rd Battalion. His second tour was in 1968-69 with Military Assistance Command Vietnam Studies and Observations Group, MACV-SOG, Command and Control North, CCN, A Company Hatchet Forces, which I've actually got a few photos of him while he was at CCN as well. And he went on, of course, as we said, 68, 69. He went on to do that. And his time at CCC was his second SOG tour, where he was there in, I swear he was there in 70, 71, because he was there when Plaster was still doing Recon and such. And I've got a great photo of him and Plaster together. But Major Storter retired from the Army in July of 1980 after 20 years service, with over 36 months in Vietnam. That's 3 years service in Vietnam. That is a doozy and a half. I'm flipping through right here to get to the back to where we can check out some of the information on the actual jump. And it, RT Washington, they got into a gun battle and all of that, and it was very successful. And some people you'll see say that this was the most successful, and it would be the most successful because they all landed together, RT Storter, and I've got photos of them on the ground I'll bring up. And they all landed together. No one got hurt on entry. And as a matter of fact, I don't even think they even got into a gun battle the whole time on the ground. Snooped and pooped for 4 days, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 4 days, and ended up some weather coming in. They were in the Polyjar slang near Polyclang, about, what is that, 20, 30 clicks north of Plei Mei, the old Special Forces camp. They're right there on the border. Hell, let me just show you. Right there, see Cambodia? What am I doing? There we go. They jumped into the Plei Mei Valley. It's highlighted right there on the border. And they reconned and were looking at infiltration routes. And for some reason, they got a few spottings, but nothing that would get you in danger or anything like that. Of course, it was danger. They were out there doing that, but everything went well on that. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm kind of doing a little run through here on his service. Hang on, I do have it right here. Let me just read about it. I'll read the whole thing. Okay. Sitting in the club one night with Captain Jim Storter, Recon Company Commander, started talking Halo. Inspired by the challenge, Storter insisted that Radke phone Chief SOG and get authority for him to lead another jump. Next morning, Radke called Storter in his office and announced all was good. Chief SOG said, "Go ahead and run it." And Storter said, "What Halo operation?" He said, Colonel Radke said, "The one you talked me into setting up last night, damn it." And Storter, who had way too much to drink, thought, "God almighty damn, what have I done?" But it was too late, and he would lead SOG's fourth Halo jump. He recruited Newman Ruff, Staff Sergeant Millard Moye, Sergeant Mike Bentley, and Sergeant John Good. As we know, John Good was replaced by Mike Bentley. Took them a long time. I've got some photos of that, where he made an embarrassed confession. "Boys, I got to tell you," Storter said, "I've never made a damn free fall in my life." Storter was undoubtedly SOG's most intense Halo refresher course ever conducted. Fortunately, as NCOs, all of the other ones, if I'm not mistakenly, were static line qualified and had, I think all of them had at least 20 free fall jumps. Millard Moye, an accomplished civilian skydiver, would be the base man. And though Bentley had only a few Halo jumps, he could more than carry his weight. We definitely heard that in his interview. When they finished the training, SOG targeted them for the Plei Mei Valley northwest of Pleiku, where the NVA was dramatically expanding its presence. Overnight, new roads were being cut into the Plei Mei Valley, with Cambodia just 5 miles away, and rapidly it was becoming another A-Shaw Valley. Several thousand NVA were within 5 miles of the Halo team's planned drop zone. Woo! Unlike the previous team, Storter's men had state-of-the-art civilian paracommander chutes that you could control and really cut up on. Each team carried a combat Uzi submachine gun with AK vests that they carried 5 magazines in each vest compartment. Bentley, who had walked point, took along a suppressor for his Uzi. One night in early September, the team shooted up for a Camp Longton jump, and a Jeep came racing out. Storter recalled, "Mission's off." Driver offered no explanation. Next morning, they learned why. Previous day, teletype to Saigon that included the team's names, individual serial numbers, weapon serial numbers, and their drop zones. The previous evening, the NSA had intercepted an enemy radio message with exactly those details, alerting a major NVA headquarters to prepare for the jump. Jesus Christ. As in the previous Halo compromise, their insertion was rescheduled, and the DZ shifted without transmitting the changes to headquarters. 2 nights later, they jumped from 16,000 feet into the Plei Mei Valley. Were they uptight? You could have taken a team of mules and not pulled a greasy string out of any of our asses, Captain Storter said. Their baseman, Moye, spotted the DZ, tracked it, and went straight forward. The other men saw Moye and followed him in. Newman Ruff's rucksack came loose, and he went in a flat spin, whipping with such force his capillaries burst in his eyes, turning his eyes bloodshot red the entire mission, though it did not impair his vision. Dizzy, he could concentrate on just one thing, so he watched the altimeter to ensure he opened the chute at the correct altitude. He knew it was still over Moye, so all would be okay. All of them landed within 30 yards of Moye, exactly in their appointed drop zone. We were 100% assembled within 10 minutes of landing and moving. Recon for 4 days. Never a hint of NVA knew we were there. Picture perfect. And then, of course, the next one would be Mr. Howard Sugar and Mark Gentry and Chuck Baylor. 16,000 feet right there, boys and girls. That was a hell of a jump. Oh, wow. That would be absolutely awesome, Moto Racer. Do you have my email from the page or not? If not, I'll put it in here. That would be more than amazing to be able to get in touch with some of the family. I'm almost positive that's mine. Let me make sure here. Yeah, Captain Storter was absolutely a complete stud. Gibson bug, yeah. Okay, and I've actually got 2 in case anybody wants to keep these. I'll put both of them in here. There we go. Yeah, that would be awesome. What did I have? Okay, and then we're gonna go back some years here with Captain Storter doing his first SOG tour at CCN with the Hatchet Forces. And he had gotten, if I'm not mistaken, he ends up at the end of this, but this is in 1969, and this is talking about, I'll bring it up, y'all can Google MACV-SOG, or actually Jim Storter, and this will actually pop up, but I'll give you a look-see here, and I'll pull up some of Plaster's book to where you see. But this is basically, if I'm not mistaken, this was the operation led by, gosh almighty, Dick Meadows ended up coming up there, but Mike Miller, A Company CCN, Bob Burns, Ralph Hawkins, Charles Gray, Sergeant Lee, Phil Balso. I've posted a few photos of him. Bobby Blatherwick, he survived the sapper attack at FOB4. Captain Dick Meadows, Major Jackie Deckard, Sabatani, and yeah, they later were killed. They were on this operation. Later on, after this, is a crazy operation where they're Gosh, I think they're in the A Valley, hook up with the Marine unit. But let's see right here at the bottom, Captain Storter. Where is it right here? Later on, after all of this, they had to completely replace everybody because people were completely shot up considering what was going on. They later get another A-Shaw target mission. Jim Storter's with them on this, and I'm about to bring it up. On that mission, my platoon inserted June 22nd, joined by Pete McMurray. Sadly, he died when a helicopter hit him on the mountaintop. Very successful, actually. The next 6 days, they were the baddest mothers in the valley. They were capturing weapons and doing airstrikes like absolute madmen. Let me pull up this right here, and it will show some of, and I didn't feel like reading John Plaster's book at the moment. Let's see if this is volume 1. Okay, here we go. Almost at the same time as Operation Spin Down in early '69, a hatchet force platoon from Da Nang was prowling the Laotian jungle west of Khe Sanh, accompanied by the platoon. Was his company commander, Captain. Wow, he's already the company commander of the hatchet force, Captain Jim Storter. There, he was to help educate 2 young lieutenants, Pete McMurray and Vincent Sabatinelli. Sadly, both of them would be dead in about 6 months after this operation. Due to some gap in the MVA security, the hatchet force platoon drew no trackers, traveled cross country without alerting anyone to its presence. The first night, the platoon set up a defense perimeter, much to everyone's. And hang on 1 second. There we go. No surprise, about 3 a.m., the platoon heard approaching truck engines that stopped and shut down nearby. At dawn, Storter held a fact, Covey, explained that they heard and had him scramble a pair of A-1 Sky Raiders from Da Nang. When the planes were overhead, the platoon moved quickly westward along the azimuth they'd recorded the previous night, toward where they'd last heard the trucks earlier. They advanced 300 yards, climbed a ridge, peered over the reverse slope into the little valley below. From there, you could see a clearing under the canopy and see into it. Storter said the trucks were too heavily camoed to make out, but the hatchet force men knew they were there. Rather than spook the NVA or get locked in a firefight, Storter just called in the A1s. After 10 minutes of strafing and bombing, the platoon went down to assess the damage. There were 6 trucks there, and the strike got all 6, Storter reports. There were some bodies, but no resistance whatsoever. Once the bombs started falling, whoever else was there had beat feet. Undoubtedly, the NVA shifted hundreds of troops to go after Storter's platoon, but by then, the men were long gone. That right there is pretty hardcore. Pretty hardcore. And that's just, see, I mean, Lord knows he did so much more. That's just one, of his CCN stories while he was there for a year. There's got to be more than that. Let's see. I hope I didn't just ruin this and take this. I found this funny because this is when Captain Storter was watching a Cowboys and Indian movie with the yards at CCC now. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that for the kind words. And if y'all want to join the membership, I've got some recordings, phone interviews that I'm going to be doing and putting up private for a while because some of them are super special and the guys are still around and not wanting to be too public, but they said I could put it up to a shared amount. So if y'all want to start joining and becoming members, I'm about to start releasing some pretty cool interviews by guys that have never spoke publicly and probably will never speak publicly. Mike Shepard being one, Larry White being another. But this is interesting right here. Let's see. That's talking about Illinois. Many Montagnards profess Catholicism, but they could not escape generations of animism. The belief in ghostly spirits inhabiting rocks, trees, omens, and spirits told them when to plant crops, when to wed, or when to build a new house. Our yards loved American movies, especially Westerns, which they watched on an outdoor plywood screen. One night, a yard sat beside Captain Jim Storter, absorbed by the Western in which the cavalry shot the hell out of the bad surrounded Indians. The perplexed Montagnard looked at Jim Storter entirely serious and asked, "Why no Indians call King Bee?" He had no concept, Storter chuckled, that back then in 1877 there were no helicopters. Training our yards proved quite a challenge, and largely illiterate and unaccustomed to formal instructions, they relied heavily on repetitions with some tasks acquired solely by rote. That's funny. Why no Indians call the King Bee? And there's tons of good stories like that of watching John Wayne and all that, and the yards loving the Indians because they were basically looked upon as the Vietnamese Indian, shall we say. Hey, Dan, nice to have you in the chat this morning. This was a bit of a last-minute situation. Let's see. Oh, man. Let me find this because this is one of Plaster's crazy stories that just shows the hectic stuff that can go on. What page is this? Sorry about this, guys. I had it saved up here. 261. Okay. I wasn't too far off. 261. And this is crazy. This is a major head injury here. RT Hawaii. This is when Hawaii was led by Plaster. They're on bright light. They're passing Doc Siang. They're headed in. They're hovering. The pilot must be new. He won't go lower. So he says plenty of clearance, ankle injuries, but there were plenty of clearance between the main rotor and the hillside. I signaled the crew chief with my hand, go lower. Damn, he must be new. No time to waste. I guess Regis miter to unsnap and extend the aluminum ladders to go down. Everybody starts going down. I shift my body, swing my legs, then lower my right foot to the first rung. The skid, however, imperfectly, the Huey shifted as I put my weight on the first rung and immediately slipped and went straight to the ground. His rucksack landed, hit his head directly on it. Did I just skip 2 pages? I did. Hang on. There we go. He is messed up. Lestover comes over. He's like, I know you. Who are you? And and Les says, hey, are you kidding me? He's saying, where the hell am I? Heavy green scenery. I instinctively try and draw a pistol because I don't know who these people are. 20 feet, my car 15 lay in the dirt. A man relieved me of my heavy rucksack, taking control of the radio. I was happy to be rid of it. All I wanted to do was sit down and try and make my head stop pounding. And another helicopter was overhead were extracting, the camouflage man told me, and led me to a hovering bird. I climbed aboard along with several little brown men, and my head began pounding my brain until tears formed in my eyes. I held my head with both hands, trying to squeeze out the pain in my skull. We landed someplace. Our blades buffeted red dust. A clean-faced man met us. I could tell he knew me, and somehow I thought I knew him. He held me by my shoulders, demanded, who am I? What a silly question. I know you. I tried, but couldn't get past forming his name on my tongue. He said, it's me, and he insisted. Jim Storter. I tried to say it over and over again, but nothing but my social security number would come out. Shortly after that, the man that said he was Storter began slapping me, getting me to my senses, and finally, I got my last name out, Plaster. And that's when he was taken to the to Plei Mei, where he had a massive concussion. I think that's where he messed up his neck that he didn't want to admit and get out of Recon. But another interesting Jim Storter slapping the piss out of John Plaster to get him to come to a bit. And I've actually got a really great photo that I was given by Mr. Billy Lewis from CCC, RT West Virginia. That's Captain Storter right there. He had just poured, I'm assuming water, but it could be liquor, all over Major Plaster, or John Plaster here, not Major at the time, because that was his last Covey flight before he was about to start calling it a career after 2 tours. That's one of my favorites. I thought I had the one previously. Let me see if I've got that where it's him actually dumping it on. I've got it in my emails. Hang on, because it's actually pretty funny. It's mid pour. There we go. I didn't have this one, so I borrowed this photo from somebody that they let me use it. Chrome tab. There we go. That is a wonderful photo. Oh, Captain Storter. And he was close with the guys. That's another thing. I've got a lot of great photos of him. I'll just start pulling some up because we've actually gone farther than I thought I would with the lack of information. There's Captain Storter in all black, 30 mag on his car. CCN operation. I'm not sure where they're at on here. I've been trying to get information about it, but I'm not sure exactly where they are. It almost looks like it's a village outside CCC, to be honest, when he may have been going out with the CRP, but I cannot confirm that either. Here he was when, this is a really cool photo when he was an advisor, smoking a cigarette with his bandana, with his cravat on, with his Pin EE camera. That's just a great photo. There he is with a pith helmet he captured and an SKS with the bayonet still on. There he is. That's them on the ground. He's laid up. See him in the bush. Everybody's on 100%. And that's one of his little selfies. Way before selfies were a thing. SOG guys may have created the selfies. There he is on a hatchet force op, smoking a stogie. Little infrastructure from the NVA. Car 15 in hand. There's RT Storter right there. Him and Millard Moye, AK chestrigs for the Uzi. There's his Uzi right there, drinking Bud Light. Oh, wow, that's a great one Mr. Jim sent me. That is Abrams, as you can see, with Captain Storter. This is the Black Cat era. No green berets allowed. That would be the good old captain right there. There he is again. I forgot about that. This must have been the same day, actually. Mr. Jim, last photo, he was actually assigned as Abrams security. He was RT Arkansas. And there's Storter, a very, very rare photo of Captain Storter at CCN. I'm not sure who these two other men, I think that might be Sanderfield Jones, but that is Captain Storter at the CCN Hatchet Force Barracks. There he is again. There's the full picture. Millard, Captain Storter, Newman. He only drank Cokes, no alcohol. And the young Mike Bentley with his beer. Fresh face as can be. Oh, yeah, I forgot that sawed-off shotgun picture. I don't know where he was at right here. Looks like when he was an advisor. That's him training at Longton, his shoot, altimeter. That's one of his jumps. That is Longton right there. They jumped from a Huey, and look how high up they are right here. I'm not sure who the other jumper is, but that is Captain Storter in all black. That's a great one. I've been led to believe this, in fact, looks like all the same uniforms, and this was labeled CRP at a Contoom, Combined Reconnaissance Platoon. And I'm thinking that all of those were CCC pictures. And there he is back. That's when he was done. I'll pull up his Ranger stuff, but CIB, I don't think he got a DSC. I think that's Silver Star. Thai, Vietnamese jump wings, Thai jump wings, Ranger, Airborne, Special Forces, dual cool, Tower Power. I mean, he was just an absolute stud. Just an absolute stud. I don't know what that was. Okay, here, let me pull this up so y'all can read it. I've got this one. I think I've got his distinguished member of the regiment pulled up. Pull that up. Unfortunately, let me zoom in so y'all can see it. There we go. Inducted in 2004, Major James Storter is inducted the Ranger Hall of Fame for his unfailing devotion to duty and valorous actions against the armed enemies of the United States. On January 30th, 66, then Sergeant First Class, wow, 66, like we said, advising a Vietnamese airborne battalion when a nearby friendly unit was pinned down in open rice paddies by heavy mortar and automatic weapons. Notified that 2 American advisors had been badly wounded and were missing, Sergeant First Class Storter immediately left his position, exposed himself to intensive enemy fire, and began searching the forward areas of the battlefield. Locating one of the wounded men, Sergeant First Class Storter administered aid, carried his comrade through to a sheltered position. Disregard of his safety, he again exposed himself to enemy fire. How did he not get the Medal of Honor? Wounded until he entered Gavin Storter had led a recon and force operation deep in enemy-controlled territory. This is SOG. When his lead platoon was pinned down by enemy fire, Captain Storter rushed forward through open terrain under intense enemy fire to reach his platoon. While awaiting for arrival of gunship, Captain Storter, and he also did. I need to see here because he had to have earned something other than I mean, wouldn't you think that's got to be more than? Let me see what a DSC looks like on dress. DSC. Because that sounded like carrying two men. That sounds nope, unfortunately not. That is not the DSC. That's a silver star he's got. I swear I was looking. I was like, that's got to be. But that is a silver star on his chest. But my God, you would have thought for sure that was a DSC or something. Yeah, I was looking. That's why I literally had to bring it up. I was like, am I sure that's not? But those 3 stripes definitely gave it the silver star. I was looking and it would have had the solid blue on top of it right there. I mean, damn, if that doesn't, but that's how it would go, you know. Jeez, having to get that's definitely DSC material. I mean, hell, that SOG one, it didn't even look like he may have gotten 2 or a bronze, but didn't even look like he got an award for that. I'll pass it along. I went to his service last year and a few MACV guys. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They were there. Definitely a stud. I appreciate that. I greatly appreciate that. He absolutely is a stud. And I'm hoping here we can get some more stories. Like I said, if we can get enough guys together, and we've got 3 or 4 good ones, Ed Walkoff, Bentley, John Good. Some of the other guys might be private, but at least I can write them down and have them if they won't come on. But we've got several guys that were there when Storter was there. And I think that would be a good idea. But like Jason said, I think what we're going to do next, I'll go ahead and make an event, and we'll do I'll start getting stories together on Bob Howard and Billy Wall, and we'll do a little we'll do a show like we did today and go through some stuff. And hopefully I'll have all of those photos, and I'm hoping we can, I'll go through some of them that of course we've heard, but I'm going to try and find some that I've dug up all along or that I've saved from posting about Billy and people posting stories in the private group. And I'll save some of those, and maybe it'll be some stuff that maybe we've not heard dozens and dozens of times. But I know there's some stuff that's out there that people don't know regularly about Billy. And there's a lot of stuff people don't know about Bob that everyone will enjoy. But I think Jason had a good idea on that. So I think this is what we're going to start doing. We're going to start doing like, depending on, most of these guys I know will be able to pull 45 because I had barely anything and we got 45 out of this today. So with some of these guys, it might be an hour-long show, but I'm at least going to push for a 45-minute show to where if y'all have got questions and all of that y'all want to ask while I'm going through stuff, go ahead and ask and stuff like that. But to update y'all next week, I do have a bunch of new SOG numbers I'm going to be calling. And Tuesday, excuse me, Tuesday we have JJ Jensen on at 12:30. Tuesday the 5th, he flew 2 tours with the Green Hornets, and he was on the Jim Fleming Medal of Honor mission where they saved RT Chisel. So that will be a lot of fun. 2 tours with the Green Hornets, working nothing but SOG to inserts and extracts is going to be crazy. And he was a door gunner full time. I don't think he was on the minigun, so he was out there with the 60, just letting it ride in his M79. And then I actually talked to John Trantanella, who was on a SOGcast, and I'm going to be seeing if he will be open to do a live interview. I'm going to be speaking to him again Wednesday, just talking to him and all of that. And I might be getting a special package from him of some photos and stuff like that I'm hoping I'll get that I can start sharing and posting and cataloging, shall I say. So we've got 2. There's another show, and I'm blanking on it right now. I didn't write it down, but there's another one this week that we're doing. It's not SOG. I think it may be. Oh, it's the Wagner Death Is Our Business author. We're going to have him on this week, or it may have to be posted to next week. But we've got 2 interesting interviews, and the interviews may be semi-slow this month, which I'll make up for by doing shows like this, because as I said, I've got a ton of old SOG numbers that I need to go through and see if these are still their numbers. And if that's the case, we might can get lucky and get some guys that have never done interviews and such before. So just wanted to update y'all. I want to do a good show, or at least an introductory show on Captain Storter, or I should say Major Jim Storter, and let y'all, if y'all didn't know about him, maybe y'all can start researching. And if when we do a part 2 on him, y'all can actually help me out and maybe learn me something about the good Major. But yeah, keep in touch. If y'all got anybody y'all want me to talk to, people have been reaching out on social media or emailing me. Don't hesitate to do that. Always open to speak to anybody, any veteran. And if y'all have got show ideas, get them to me in the chats or email or text or Instagram, Twitter, wherever. And again, I keep saying, if y'all have got a subject y'all are knowledgeable on or would like to talk on and want to come on as a guest, got an open invite to come on and shoot the crap with me and us talk SOG stuff or look at pictures or whatever. That's another thing. Join the membership. We're gonna be doing. I'm gonna be showing off some very, very private SOG photos that I've gotten this year, actually in the past few months. So the memberships are actually worth it. It may not seem like I do much membership stuff, but that's about to change. We're about to start doing some really, really cool membership stuff. Over my shoulder back there, you see the 2 books beside Inside Force Recon. Those are Craig Jurgensen's books, and I'm trying to figure out how to do a giveaway. I've got 2 copies of each of those books, and one is SOG related, and the other is his Chasing Romeo series about the Romeo alert team that is kind of based on his tour and other stuff. So I'm trying to think of a giveaway and how we can do that in the chat, maybe answering some questions or something like that, because I really want to get those books out to somebody who'd like to read them. And I know all of y'all that watch the channel would really, really enjoy them. So maybe thinking of a way we could do a little giveaway or questionnaire or something, anything that that would be fun to get the books out to y'all, and I'll send them out, and y'all can get them. And what I'll do is, instead of sending like one of each to somebody, unfortunately, I'd like to get 2 out. We'll just have to see. I'd like to give one person both a copy of each book, but we'll just see. I'll see. We may change it up, and somebody who's more SOG, a fan of SOG, we'll give them the SOG oriented book. 2 people that, and if people are more LERP oriented, we'll do the LERP book. So everybody, keep your eyes on the social medias and the shares on the YouTube channel page, and I'll keep you updated on what we've got cooked up later in the year. Now, I will go ahead and admit and share this. Gary Dolan, who is a Ranger Hall of Fame member and a amazing stud of a Ranger. He's all over the internet for some of his awesome photos. He's the guy that's got the chopped down Car 15 that is barely looks big enough for him to hold on to. I got in touch with him, and he's going to be doing an interview either later this month or next month. And William Albright, the Eagle from the Mike Forces and Firebase Kate, he is actually talking about coming in December and doing our second in-person interview here at the house with me. So big things are cooking. Everybody keep your ears and eyes peeled, and we'll be going from there. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Hit me up if y'all need me.